Welcome everyone. Today we have a Dota Underlords meta guide. This one is a high rank game build and also you can play it in the casual mode. This is a very fun build and as you can see it's gonna be Brownies. We made the Hunter guide and now we're up to the Brownies now. So the Brownies don't have many of the variation. There's 4 crucial units that's sitting on the board as you can see, starting with Snapfire, followed by Juggernaut, Bristle and Beastmaster. Snapfire is a tier 1, tier 2, tier 2 and tier 3. And we're going to play our game accordingly with the rates. So I'll be focusing on the rates first, very focused. And we'll have a bunch of units which will be substitutes onto the board for different supplements of the build and different alliance and different enemy counters and different item choices as well. And also Underlords choices. So firstly, let's start with the crucial part of the build. You'll be hyper rolling at level 5. That's right. You won't need to stay on level 4, level 3 too much. You want to roll level 5 for the highest rate of Beastmaster, Juggernaut and Bristleback. This will reduce rate of Snapfire, which is a sacrifice we're willing to take, because a 3-star Snapfire is not as strong as a 3-star Beastmaster. On top of that, level 5 enables you to have a pack. So if you happen to have a 2-star Snapfire and pack, you still do a lot of damage with the Dragon synergies. So let's look at the rates here. The rates on the 3-star was not correct. I actually memorized the rates for tier 2, so they should be 40%, and I can see the difference. It was not correct. So what you ought to see is for level 1 and level 3, you just automatically level up. By the time you're level 3, save up to 30 gold and use your surplus gold to go to level 4 and go to level 5 directly. This will give you 35% Snapfire rate, 40% Juggernaut and Bristleback rate, and 25% Beastmaster rate. This is the most balanced rate and also allows you to have the best units on the board with 5 of them. With 5 units, you have more chance of killing enemies with AoE damage. Now let's go back to the board. How does the build work is that we'll be stacking AoE damage, and AoE damage from Bristleback is very strong, plus the Beastmaster. Those 2 AoE damage is actually stackable because Bristleback, each time he does his magic damage, he will be stacking 34 damage up to 5 stacks, which becomes 170 bonus damage. While the Beastmaster, his stacks is 30% more damage each time he hits enemies with his axes, and this goes up further as he casts further. That's why those 2 units really enjoy his Octarine Essence, which will go through the items as well. Juggernaut is magically immune while he casts his Blade Fury, and it's a AoE damage. It's a small AoE radius, and also Juggernaut gives us bonus HP. Juggernaut really enjoys having more HP as well, because he gives everyone bonus HP, not just the Brownies, Puck as well, and everybody else. Snapfire wants to cast fast, and Snapfire can use the armor, but casting fast is essential. Snapfire is a range unit. Snapfire doesn't go further to take damage. She will sit here and she won't go further. In order to fix that, we have an item for Snapfire. So let's go into the items now. For the tier 1 items, I would recommend Chainmail of most because it scales with the additional HP you have. After that, we will recommend the Hood because of these mages. But if there isn't that many mages, you can go for any items that suit your gameplay, but Chainmail is definitely a must-have if you get a chance for it, because you'll be sitting on say 5,000, 10,000 HP. The 20% damage reduction from Chainmail is massive. It's about 20%. So Hood is pretty much a personal choice because I'll be facing more mages lately. Second tier, oh, there's so many choices for second tier. The best item for Juggernaut is a Cloak because Cloak adds Juggernaut's HP. If you have, say, 40 kills, that's 2000 HP added, and that 2000 HP is translated onto 600 HP. Actually, no, 300 HP for the whole team. I was going to say 600, doubling it. So the Cloak adds Juggernaut's HP that gives the whole team more HP, which is a really beneficial item. After that, what you want to look for is a Blink Dagger for the Snapfire. Being a dragon and being out of position at times, Snapfire does not cast fast enough. You want her to cast first and start burning enemies. So Blink Dagger Snapfire goes in, tanks up for us, casts and gets the job done. And also she will be hitting enemies with her Scatter Blast. At level 3, the Scatter Blast is every 4 attack, and those will reduce enemy armor. Beastmaster does physical damage, so his axes and his damage is going to be dealt physical, and Snapfire kind of helps with that. For the Beastmaster, what I recommend is Octarine Essence with Beastmaster and Octarine Essence with Bristleback. If you happen to only have 1 Octarine Essence, go with something tanky for the Bristleback and go with the Octarine for the Beastmaster. You can go for Refresher for Beastmaster too, and that just gets him cast quicker, because each sequential cast increase damage by the next one by 30%, which is really powerful. Bristle can be your damage dealer or can be your AoE tank. Basically, Bristle as a damage dealer can take Octarine, or Bristle can take, say, the demon item, but I don't recommend that because Bristle is your best tank. Go for something with armor, let's say the chainmail, or you can go for the blade mail. How do I rank items? Blade mail is the average item for tier 2. If I get something like the Vanguard, if I get the cloak, it's actually better than blade mail. If I get the Heaven's Helmet, it's better than blade mail because blade mail is too passive. The helmet is not as good as the Vanguard or the cloak because it doesn't give us armor. Lastly, the blink dagger is only because I'm close to 3-star Snapfire. If it's just a 2-star Snapfire, I won't bother with this item because this can be other items for the rest of the team. One item to focus for tier 3 is going to be the Crown of Altars versus Silver Edge. If you get a choice of those two, always go with the Silver Edge because you'll be rolling at level 5. If you're level 5, you can't get the Hunter scene because your units are fixed and you have limited items selections, or limited item holders. And if that's the case, giving the Silver Edge to the Juggernaut, if he doesn't have the cloak, is actually better for the better attack speed, the bonus HP, and also the break. If you go for the Crown, you're forcing yourself to fit as a Hunter with Beastmaster. And that in return is not great for us because we want to stay at level 5 for about 20 rounds, or at least 22 rounds maybe. And Beastmaster is more for his AoE damage, not for his single target damage. Lastly, the Refresher is good on the Snapfire. Refresher can work on the Beastmaster, and those are the two candidates with the Brownies to use Refresher. You can go for Refresher Tide, Refresher Morana, Refresher Longdred, Refresher Medusa, those can also work. So Refresher is not bad for tier 4. You can also consider Cadence to deal with enemy Brownies, but hopefully you'll be the only Brownie here. And Venomir is really good for us because Venomir gives us armor. With that much HP, armor, bonus damage, and lifesteal is really good. So after item selection, we always stick with AoE damage with the Underlords. So the best choice of Underlord will be Hogan with the burst damage or friendly fire. Hogan does steal some of your kills because of that, but it's better to win the fight and gain more kills this way than to lose the fight after round 10. Because winning the fights usually gives you more kills, and you don't want to lose more HP. Losing HP is not good for us because we need HP to survive long enough for the 3 stars. Similarly, you can go for the second choice of ammo with the Let's Go Crazy ammo, with more poison damage, with more of the stunning, which is not bad. After that, I can go for Thorn 6 or maybe an offensive Jew. So, how would you want to build after you level 5 and after you find your units? The timing is, you want to be rolling for Snapfire, Juggernaut, and Bristleback at level 5. Once you hit those, don't roll for the Beastmaster, and don't buy the 2-star pack, because pack is too expensive. Pack will steal your kills. Pack actually works against you. Beastmaster rate is not great at level 5. I'll show you guys the Beastmaster rate. I'm going to pull up the rulebook because the rates there is actually not correct. The Beastmaster is a tier 3 unit now. Keep that in mind. He's no longer a tier 2. So his rate is only 25% at this level. I made a mistake once in a game to try to roll for Beastmaster at level 5, and I never got enough of him. I was 1 away, and we never made it. So what you do is, after finding your Juggernaut, Bristleback, and Snapfire, level up from level 5 to level 7. The timing for this should be around round 22 or round 20-ish. Ideally not after round 24, because people get too much power after that level. So you want to get to level 7, add maybe a 2-star pack now, and maybe a double Beastmaster 2-star, and roll for the Beastmaster at level 7. If you find yourself to be in trouble against enemy mages or enemy combos and you find yourself lack of damage because you haven't got enough kills, go to level 8, start rolling for the Dragon Knight, start rolling for Hunters, start rolling for Longdred as well. Now, what are the best transitional units for this build? So, to start things off, if you happen to find your Beastmaster and everyone to 3-star right away, and you have like level 6 or you have no units to put in, consider a random Magnus, because Magnus give us 2 things. Magnus give us Savage, which gives us a bit of damage. Magnus also work with the Beastmaster to summon a wild little wolf. The wild wolf will be not very strong in terms of defensive capacities, but with Juggernaut, he gets a bit of bonus HP. And after that, Beastmaster 3-star gives him 100 attack speed boost. If Magnus buffed the Brownies, you also get a lot of bonus damage with Zing Power. But this is the random pickup for just happens you have a free spot. You always want to transition into the Lone Druid if you get a chance for this kind of build with a 3-star Beastmaster. You can get your Refresher up on the Lone Druid, you can just get attack speed on the Lone Druid. He will be your Savage with the Bristleback, and Lone Druid also heals the summon unit as he attacks with the Shaman bonus. If you take the Summoner's path, and if you go for the Druids, what I recommend now is go for the Magnus, go for Lycan, and go for Dragon Knight. This will take you to level 8, and here you might not get a 2-star Dragon Knight, of course. You probably be a 1-star Dragon Knight, but you actually have the Brownies, Savage, and Summoner, plus the Human for mana gain. And lastly, you can go for 1 more Shaman to get a ranged Shaman unit, or you can just level up for another Hunter. So it's quite flexible here. But keep in mind, this Hunter is not correct. So there you go. You level up 2 for another Hunter. So that's not good. So don't worry about the Hunter. If you have trouble with mages, or if you have trouble with enemies who you can't get close up because they're barricaded in, so I wouldn't recommend going for the Shamans. I recommend going for the Hunters. The Hunters here, of course, you won't get this Medusa this early, and you'll probably be sitting on 1-star Medusa, sometimes even Wind Ranger. Having the Hunters allows you to use the Tide with Blink Dagger or Refresher, and sometimes Tide can use the tanky items. You want to position the Tide in such a way he will also take damage, but the Brownies are still here to tank the damage. Medusa should be in the corner with some items that keeps her alive. If she's a 2-star, she can be in the middle of the team fight. And your units should be protected against enemy jumping for the backline if there's assassins, blade masters. Now, there's a special positioning I want to show you guys, just in case the enemies are having a cadence and also enemies are bulked up in the corner and you find yourself to running into a death ball of units. So that's what Brownies experience because they kind of defend against us this way. And we had a question on what happened to Axe. I'll explain why we don't use Axe. So let's say I'm going for summons, and enemy is kind of hiding in the corner and I can't get to them. So if that's the case, I'll throw in the pack still here too. I'm level 9, I can't get to enemies. What I can do is I can actually put my units in such a way I'm actually forcing enemies to run into me. So here notice my 2 range units are kind of here. I can have the Dragon Knight here, and I just want the enemy to pull out of the formation and run into me. This gives me a better coverage of focus fire against enemies, and sometimes I hide Lone Druid in the corner so he survives, and this allows Dragon Knight Snapfire to kind of stay where they are. As enemies runs into us, it's much easier to surround them and do damage this way. So usually we're in the front like this. But if you do find the need to get away from the death ball, you can move to the back formation. The question with Brownies and what happened to Axe? The downside of Brownies with kills is that Axe is a great unit, but it's hard to get him even to a 2-star, and Brawny kills does not stack that easily if Axe is not a 2-star. Axe doesn't benefit that much from being a 1-star, and Axe being a brute is just a little off. He doesn't provide enough synergies for the whole team. And because of that, we don't consider Axe in the build. Because if you go for Axe, might as well go for a Dragon and not go for Lone Druid, which gives more damage and also gives another synergy. One very important factor for the Brownies is that if you happen to be contested, you do not want to force Brownies this badly. This build is wonderfully strong if no one or not many people take the Brownie units, but if there's more than a threshold of number of people taking the Brownie units, you'll not have a good time. Only 30 Snapfire, 20 Juggernaut, 20 Beastmaster, and 20 Bristleback and 18 Beastmaster in the game. So what you want to do is you want to use tab to check how many people are having each of the units. It's okay if someone has a 2-star Snapfire. They can have, like, say, 6 Snapfire away. That's okay for you. But the moment someone have, let's say, 5 Juggernaut or 5 Bristleback, or maybe say 4 Beastmaster, you should be active aware. If the person also going for Brownies, then you should consider transitioning out of this build. We'll touch on the transition as well here, just to in case if you're aware of this, you don't want to be rolling like this, because likely you will not find all the 3 stars and you'll have a terrible time. On the plus side, if no one's going for Brownies, which also happens, you can just roll like this and really benefit. So if you don't find your crucial Brownies, you know you're already at a disadvantage. What you do is, you do something similar to what we said here. You look for those units, but you keep in mind your Brownie is only 2-star, which is okay. You can stick with double Beastmasters for 2-star, you can stick with double Juggernaut for 2-star, or maybe double Snapfire for 2-star. You can transition to Mages if you find the crucial parts of Mages, let's say the Keeper of the Light with a Puck or maybe with a Rubik. you can go for something that you find. But you should be leveling up to level 8 and roll for a few. And you no longer are looking for the 3 stars, because the round indicator is by round 22. If you're still very far away from the 3 stars, you stop rolling, you consider leveling up. You basically try to scavenge your losses and try to make it to top 4 if you can. But if you make it through, you'll be very strong. I've had games with over 10,000 HP on the brownies, and this is very powerful. What I'll do is I'll also post a few of the high rank games and a few of the casual games we tested, lots of games of brownies in different scenarios, and to show you guys what's possible. Thank you for watching, guys. Oh, that was definitely quite a bit of guide, jumping all over the place as well. So hopefully you guys find it helpful, and this will be posted onto YouTube. I'll also post onto Reddit for us as well. And following the post of the Brawny guide, I'll post a few of the Brawny games as well. Thank you again for watching, guys.